What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Horizon Comix. My name, as I'm sure you may know by now, is Joey M. Lang, the creator of Horizon Comix, and we are now on day 4 of Horizon Comix Reveal Week, and I'm going to call this a halfway point. And since this is now the official halfway point, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick checkpoint, pause for a second to thank you guys all so much for your engagement, for watching, for liking, and following. I honestly have had such a great time putting this whole event together. It was a very long process of trying to find the time to do it. And now that I've actually been able to get to this goal point of launching the event, I couldn't be any happier. I'm so excited to share it with you guys, and I can't wait for your reactions for the rest of the week. So, let's get right into it. So that I may proudly introduce to you Horizon Comix' first LGBTQ non-binary superhero, Infinity. Infinity's identity is Kellen K. They're 28 years old, 6 feet 2 inches tall, and weigh 180 pounds. Their powers and abilities include the ability to create infinite duplicates of themselves, all mirroring the original body. However, the more duplicates they create, the less time they're able to use them for. Battling leukemia in their teen years, Kellen discovered their special abilities after receiving a never-done-before or again special blood cell duplication treatment as a means of increasing the growth of their normal blood cells to combat their abnormal ones. This not only cured their disease, it granted Kellen unique duplication powers. As the hero called Infinity, Kellen has used their uncanny abilities to help and protect the people of General City for 6 years. They're a municipal registered hero in General City, working tirelessly to achieve their 2 major goals, becoming the first non-binary national registered hero in Canada, and join Team Strong and Free, Canada's superhero initiative. Now that you've learned about Infinity, let's learn about some of the inspirations that led to their creation. Representation in comics is extremely important to me. There's just countless types of designations that people identify with that don't get enough representation in the media that they like to subscribe to. So whereas in this essence is comics, I wanted to give representation in a non-arbitrary way. What I mean by that is I didn't want to put some kind of designation on an already existing character to check a box and say that I did it. I wanted it to breathe its own life and be its own essence to organically give a voice to what it's representing. To use myself as an example, albeit a fairly different example, I really liked it when DC Comics introduced the Jessica Cruz character to the Green Lantern titles. They introduced her as this character who has an extreme anxiety disorder and becomes a Green Lantern through finding the strength out from under these huge anxieties and fears that pin her down on a regular basis. And that made me feel really good in the sense that I had something to relate to. It was for something that I hadn't really thought much about as a normal thing to deal with until I started reading more about that, because I have an anxiety disorder, so I could really relate to what this character was dealing with. And that's why I thought this character, particularly Infinity, would give a good voice to a certain group of people who to my knowledge, don't have that much representation in mainstream comics. But beyond that, I still didn't want that to be the main takeaway, like the only thing to remember about Infinity, because I want this character to be its own person, to not have the labels attached to the character, and take away from the fact that this character is another person who has all the same rights as all the other characters would have in this universe, and that, of course, above all else, is that they're a hero, a superhero that has the goals and drive to do good just like any other hero. And the powers that I picked for this character just kind of came out of nowhere, completely out of left field. Um, when I was coming up with the concept for this character, I didn't necessarily come up with it with a power in mind, which is kind of like how I do some of my characters. I come up with a power and then I come up with the character for it. But I find the best way to do it is to come up with a character and then build the character as if you're learning about a actual person for the first time. So these powers just kind of came right out of nowhere, almost as if like, hey, I just met this person and they said, oh yeah, I have this power. So when I thought of it, it just made sense. I mean, like, I found myself thinking about other characters in comics and other media, fictionally, who have these abilities, like, let's say, Triple K Girl from the Legion of Superheroes, and she, like, well, triplicates, triples herself into 3 bodies. Or, let's say, I can't remember his name. I'm gonna get shamed for it, but the character from the X-Men series in the Brotherhood of Evil, the guy who he multiplies himself. I'm brain farting on it completely right now. Or like even in anime, there's Naruto with his shadow clone jutsu. So with Naruto as the exception, I've noticed that the characters who have this power are usually sub-main characters or like side characters. And I want Infinity to be a main character. So I thought it would be really cool for a character in comics to have this as their main ability. Something they do, but with a small twist on it, that each of the duplicates mirror everything that the original body does. And I thought that might be a little interesting twist. Might eliminate some possible loopholes or quirks that a villain or adversary would take advantage of. And it may be the only exception to the rule I mentioned yesterday that I have for my characters, where I don't want them to do just one thing. As I'm looking into this power and really thinking about it, it's a super overpowered character. Super overpowered power, that is, I mean. Whereas, like, you look at examples in My Hero Academia with the villain Twice. He's one of the most dangerous characters in the manga and anime because of this power and some examples that they give of him using it. So I didn't want to overpower him in the sense, like, for example, like with National Anthem, stacking power on power on power with it. But like, I want to show that this character can do so much and be on par with those big players with this one ability. As for possible stories for Infinity, if they're the one to be selected at the end of the voting process, then I think we could use this story as a vehicle to introduce the registered hero concept of the Horizon Comix universe. And I could do that by telling the story through the perspective of Infinity and them pursuing their goal, and doing that through performing acts of heroism thereof a municipal registered hero. Be it something as tedious as saving a cat from a tree, to maybe saving multiple lives. All culminating in a segue fashion to perhaps them being contacted by the Prime Minister himself about perhaps joining Team Strong and Free, thus making a full circle story to Infinity achieving their ultimate goals. And so that's one idea of what I could do with a story for Infinity for their debut. In a nutshell, basically. It could be something like that. It could be something like a fight with a villain and introduce a new villain. Or really anything of a third-person narrative in nature, of Infinity narrating what it means to them to be a hero. That first idea really sticks with me, though. But we'll just have to wait and see for when this story gets gotten to, and I really want to get to it sooner rather than later. And that wraps up the introduction and reveal of the first LGBTQ character in Horizon Comix, Infinity. Now, like I said, with a bunch of these other characters, I don't plan for this to be their only appearance. I intend for each and every one of these characters to be very present in my universe. This is just a matter of who gets seen first. So, with all that said, we have 3 more superheroes to reveal in Reveal Week. This is our 4th, our halfway point, if you will, and I cannot wait to share more with you guys. So, with all that said, please like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, comment below what you think about these characters, any suggestions you have for the characters or the stories that I could put those characters in, maybe some long-term plans for them. I would absolutely appreciate that. I would love to hear your thoughts. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to see more and find out more immediately as it comes out as it pertains to Horizon Comix. So with that said, I will see you tomorrow with our 5th out of 7 heroes to reveal. And I will see you again just over the horizon.